Alright guys, in this video we're going to be going over the 4-step guide to fat loss. So that way by the end of this video you should have every resource necessary to start your fat loss journey and to keep that weight off for the rest of your life. Now this guide is so simple that even your dad could follow along. And to prove my point, my dad followed along and he lost 30 pounds in the last 18 weeks, while at the same time building more muscle, more strength, and feels 10 years younger at the same time. Now, if you're looking for similar results, make sure you follow along with this video and stay all the way to the end so that you can have similar results as well. All the tools that we're going to be using in this video are going to be linked in the description of this video so you can use them and follow along with the step-by-step guide. All right, with all that out of the way, let's jump into step 1, which is going to start us off with nutrition. So, first thing we need to understand about fat loss or weight loss in general is our nutrition. Now, what do I mean by this? We first have to understand that our body is storing fat because we have an excess amount of energy, and in this case, an excess amount of calories. So, in order to simplify our nutrition down, we first have to understand how many calories our body needs to sustain our current body weight. The way we do this is by using a macro calculator to figure out what our maintenance calories are. So, follow along with me. We're going to pull up the macro calculator. When we do this, we're going to make sure that we go ahead and implement 3 things. We're going to plug in our weight, our height, our age, our gender, our activity level, and our goal. Now, for this one, we're just going to click maintain as the goal after we plugged in all of our information. And we're also going to set our activity level to however many times a week we are doing physical activities. Now, if you're having a hard time figuring out your activity level, make sure you click the drop down box and choose sedentary, lightly active, moderately active, active, or very active, depending on what seems most like your current situation. Once you've clicked on your activity level, you're going to go ahead and hit calculate, and this is going to generate your total calories. Great. Once you have your total calories, don't do anything with it yet. Just save that number for later, and we'll come back to it. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and download MyFitnessPal. So first and foremost, we're going to take that number, we're going to go to the homepage of MyFitnessPal, we're going to click on where it says calories, we're then going to go down to where it says goal, we're going to click on that, and we're going to plug in that big number that we had earlier in whatever that number may be. Now, as you see below it, we have the total calories broken down into carbs, proteins, and fats. These are called your macronutrients. Now, MyFitnessPal might already have it broken up into the 40-30-30 rule, but if it doesn't, make sure you just go in and change those percentages for carbs, proteins, and fats to 40% carbs, 30% protein, and 30% fat. This is going to be important later when we start building more muscle as we lose body fat. Once you have your total calories plugged in and your proper macro percentages plugged in, you're going to start tracking your calories. Now this part is super easy. You're going to go to the diary part of the MyFitnessPal and you're going to start tracking your food. You can track for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, as well as snacks. Now, it also has a spot for you to track exercises and water. Do not worry about tracking your exercises because the macros that we are going to come up with are going to include as if you're doing those exercises anyway. So don't worry about that. Now, when it comes to tracking your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all you're going to go do is add food, and you're going to track whatever it is that you ate. If you want more information on how you can accurately track your food, watch this video next where I deep dive into tracking food using MyFitnessPal. Awesome, so now we know how to track and now we know how to calculate our maintenance calories. But in order for us to lose fat, we need to be in a calorie deficit. So in order to do this, you're just gonna go back into the calculator, type in your same information, weight, height, all that good stuff. You're going to change the goal from maintain weight to weight loss of about 1 pound per week. There is an option for extreme weight loss for 2 pounds per week, but this is a very aggressive cut and it's going to put you in a very deep deficit. We don't want to click this because even though it's tempting to be losing 2 pounds per week, a lot of that tissue will be water, fat, and most importantly, muscle, which is what we want to hold on to. So make sure you stick to 1 pound of weight loss per week, be patient, and you'll be good to go. Make sure you hit your macros consistently every day and stay within your calorie goal for the day. Awesome. Let's move on to step 2, which is resistance training. Now I get it, not everyone wants to be a gym rat and go to the gym 6 times a week, and that's perfectly fine. I don't need you going 6 times a week, but I do need you to implement some sort of resistance training to your weekly schedule. This is because resistance resistance training is how you build muscle tissue. Now, this doesn't mean you have to go into the gym and lift weights all the time. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is you need to start stimulating muscular growth. Now, resistance training is super important for any fat loss journey because this is how we're going to make the weight stay off once we've lost it all. Because what happens when your body loses weight is it starts to decrease its BMR, or your basal metabolic rate. This is important because this is the amount of calories that you burn at rest, doing absolutely nothing except breathing and being alive. So we want to increase that number of how many calories we're burning at rest so we can allow for the reduction of cravings later on as we progressively lose fat. And will keep you healthy and active enough to be able to do the things that you love on a day-to-day basis. Not only are you going to get stronger, but you're also going to feel younger as well, which is really important when it comes to longevity and health. Now, this doesn't mean you have to spend 2 hours in the gym every single day. I just need you to pick a program that is going to allow you to realistically stimulate enough muscle growth while still allowing you to have adequate rest. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about picking out a resistance training program. If you want the in-depth guide on how to pick your resistance training program specifically for you, go ahead and click this video next and watch that right after you finish this one, and you can get all the info you need on how to start resistance training today. Step 1 and step 2 are now completed. Let's move on to step 3, which is going to be hydration. Hydration is super important, and it's the most important aspect when it comes to consistent resistance training and fat loss. This is because as you go throughout the day, you're going to get dehydrated, you're going to sweat a lot, and you probably experience things like mild headaches throughout the day, lack of sleep or insomnia at times, as well as poor recovery and lack of mobility. This is because hydration is what our body needs in order to function at its maximum capacity. Now, in order to do this, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to a Walmart, a Publix, wherever you can get a gallon of water, a full jug, and you're gonna carry that thing with you everywhere you go. Now, I know you're gonna look kind of awkward, you're gonna look like a gym bro walking around with a big jug of water, but this is crucial because that jug is going to be heavy. And when you have something heavy that you have to carry around with you, it's gonna make you tired. So how do you make that load less heavy? You're going to drink it. You're going to drink the water whenever you feel thirsty or whenever your mouth feels a little bit dry. This is going to cue you to be more hydrated throughout the day. It's going to remove the excuse of, oh, well, I forgot to fill up my water, or, oh, well, the water's not cold anymore. If you have that jug on you 24/7, you're going to drink from it and you're going to get that jug done by the end of the day. I promise you. Now, it is going to be a hassle to carry around. It is going to be a pain, and that's okay. I want it to be a little bit of a challenge. This is where getting that hydration in is going to improve your day-to-day life. And it's also going to improve how your resistance training goes and how your nutrition feels. Because when you have more water in your stomach, you're not as hungry as well. So that's also something important to remember. Now, it's not healthy to drink out of the plastic jugs for a long period of time. So if you are going to drink out of the plastic jugs from Walmart or Publix, make sure that you are only doing it for a short amount of time, maybe only a couple days, and then upgrading to something like a stainless steel jug that you can have insulated water in no matter where you are. This is a gallon I got off of Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description as well so you can pick up one of these. It is a bit of an investment, but it is worth it. So make sure you pick up one for yourself. Now, once you have the hydration down, you're already going to start to feel a lot lighter, a lot happier, and you're going to feel a lot healthier as well because your nutrition has changed, your habits have changed, and now your hydration has changed. Now, one thing I forgot to mention when it comes to hydration is it's also going to reduce the amount of sweet drinks that you're going to be having. Now, if you want to reduce the amount of sugar that you're having on a day-to-day basis because you know it's negatively affecting your health, make sure you take the 3-day no sugar challenge. Link is in the description. All right, moving on to step number 4, which is going to be the most important step when it comes to building muscle and losing fat, and this is going to be recovery. Now, everyone says recovery is so important, especially if you're doing resistance training, and they're right, they're absolutely right. But what they don't tell you is that recovery is more important for fat loss because it helps reduce the amount of cortisol you have in your body. Cortisol is your stress hormone, and this is what reduces the amount of fat that you're able to burn on a day-to-day basis. So by increasing the amount of recovery you do, you're then able to decrease the amount of cortisol you have in your system, thereby allowing you to burn more fat as energy. So how do we do this? We're going to sleep a minimum of 8 hours per night at a bare minimum, non-negotiable, 8 hours of sleep every night. This is going to help maximize our resistance training recovery, as well as, like I said, decrease your cortisol levels. We're also going to stretch/foam roll for 15 minutes every single day that we're not resistance training. Now, I don't need you to do this on the days that you are resistance training because you're already doing so much and you're probably tired. But on the days that you're not resistance training, make sure that you're stretching or foam rolling for at least 15 minutes a day. This is super important because it helps break up the lactic acid and muscle damage within your muscles on the days that you're not working out. And it's also a great way to release a lot of toxins inside your body as well. So make sure you do that. You can also do yoga. That also counts as your stretching. I would recommend yoga. Yoga is a lot of fun, so you can do that if you want to. But if you don't want to, bare minimum 15 minutes of stretching or foam rolling on the days that you're not working out. That's all it's going to take for recovery in order to maximize our growth. And if you follow everything that I just mentioned within the step-by-step guide, you are going to lose about a pound per week of weight. Now, that doesn't mean it's always going to be fat. There are some weeks where you might be really bad on eating, but you still stayed under your goal, and you might lose some water, you might lose some muscle, but that's okay. You have to understand that this is something that is going to be sustainable for the rest of your life, and it's going to allow you to lose the most amount of fat in the most sustainable way possible for the rest of your life. And these habits will help you keep that fat off, so that way it will never come back in the form of binge eating or crash dieting. If you found this guide helpful, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel because it really helps. And again, the links to the resources that we used for the macro calculators and the resistance training are both going to be in the description below, so you can go ahead and click on those so you can start your fat loss journey today. Stop making excuses. And if you want a community that is going to help boost your confidence and give you more information and answer any questions that you might have on your specific fat loss journey, go ahead and check out our school community where we have more in-depth classes on fat loss, resistance training, and everything fitness related. Leave a comment if you have any questions. Watch one of these 2 videos in order to boost the algorithm. My name is Josh, and I'll see you guys inside the SweatSphere.